30.6 billion visits. That's how many Grow a Garden on Roblox has. Now, for a game to have this many visits, it must have some complex gameplay, right? Well, actually, the baseline gameplay is pretty simple. The main premise of the game is to, as the name suggests, grow a garden and then sell your harvest to the shop to make money to hopefully further upgrade your farm. Now, I know that this isn't all the features that there are, but I wanted to focus on these today, because what if I told you that these basic features existed in Minecraft as well? Well, they do, at least to a degree. So today, I'm going to try and see if I can grow a garden in Minecraft. Alright, so it's a new world, and if I'm not mistaken, there should be a village fairly close. Actually, I can see the evidence of it right there as it spawns in. Now that, right there, is basically the bedrock, no pun intended, of this entire operation. My plan here is to have it to where I will start a farm nearby and then hopefully be able to sell my crops and my harvests over to the farming villagers of this town. And believe me, when I'm done, there's gonna be a lot of farming villagers. Now, as any good business starts, we first have to start with just a little bit of thievery. So we have these hay bundles here, and it would truly be a shame if someone was to, I don't know, come by and steal these and use them for his or her own advantage. And oh my goodness, they're gone! I wonder who could have done such a thing. Now it's time to take care of the rest of them. Alright, so I believe that I have taken out a good portion of their hay bales, and if I come across any more, I will be sure to keep them safe. Now this is the guy of which is going to be the main source of our operation. He is the one and only farming villager, and as you notice, there is one very interesting fact about him. You can sell 15 beetroots to him for 1 emerald each. Now, are the trades a little excessive? Yes, but it is what we need to use or to best acquire the system. Now, there's nothing in the law books that says that you can't take someone's crops and sell it back to them, so I think that since these carrots look perfectly ripe and ready to harvest, I might just as well take advantage of that. And now here they are, and don't worry, I bothered to replant them, so he's not completely out of business. But you see, there are more villagers than just that one back there, and there are more farms to take care of. So don't mind if I do. Now here's a guy that is truly useful. You see, he currently wants 20 wheat for 1 emerald. Now, I have 54 hay bale in my inventory, which I can then take to make a bunch of wheat. And he tells me that he can give me an emerald. So, here's the plan. I'm going to try and trade him until I can't trade anymore. Now, there is a bit of a limit that takes place here, which is quite unfortunate. But after so long, this limit will eventually, and you see he's already done it, it will refresh. Which means that I will be able to, level him up. I'll be able to make more trades. Now I can sell pumpkins to him, and eventually I'll be able to sell watermelons to him. Now I do have a goal in mind before I finish this entire challenge. I currently want to make 100 emeralds, and we currently have 6. But so far we are on a pretty good trajectory, and we haven't even begun to build our farm yet. So I think that this challenge is going to be surprisingly simple in some ways. But I do know that those words are going to come back and haunt me a little bit later. Now, nighttime is falling, but thankfully, there are beds in this village that I will be able to use to my advantage. So hopefully I will be able to sleep and be able to pass the night. Unlike the last challenge where it took me forever before I was ever even able to sleep. Well, it sure is getting dark outside, but sooner or later, it will become daytime. And now I think it's time for us to begin the work on our brand new farm. Now I think I'm gonna go ahead and get some wood here to try and begin the process of gathering the resources for our farm. Now in normal survival at this point, I would begin by crafting an axe. However, I do not think that that would be the best option for us here today, because if you remember, we are farmers, and therefore we need a hoe more than anything. And don't worry, I crafted an axe as well. But after priorities, my friend, priorities. Now, after some careful deliberation, I believe that the best spot for the farm would be right here next to spawn, because it's just far enough away from the village to not be considered a part of their business, yet close enough to them to where I can have their business. Now, if the last challenge has taught me anything, it means that that is most likely going to be the richest place with resources without having to go underground. Now, the only reason that I don't want to go underground right now is not because I don't feel like I'm prepared enough, it's because I am absolutely terrified. And would you looky here, we just transitioned from grass to stone and there's already coal. And we can't forget about how truly valuable that stone is as well. Well, night's falling, and this is not exactly a good thing. The thing that I was trying to avoid the most seems to have found its way to me. And would you looky there, they've already started to spawn in. And after some careful deliberation, I have discovered that the best chances of survival would be to run. Get out of there. Why, would you looky there? Appears to be some iron. Only one piece. Now I think before I go look for any more iron, what I'm first going to do is try and get some of the groundwork laid for our brand new farming industry. And I think what I'm first going to start out by doing is planting some carrots, which I only have a limited amount of right now, but hopefully this will become a sustainable form of industry in the future. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to do what I wanted to avoid in the first place, and that's go underground. Ooh. I feel like a cave diver with how thin these caves are. My goodness. But the cave wasn't totally a lost cause, as I actually found a great deal of iron down there. And it's nighttime. Oh. It's also quite deadly. Do we really have to run through this again? I'm gonna take the bed just out of spite. And now that I've arrived back home, I can smelt up all the iron that I collected. Now as that is smelting up, I need to remind all of you about one specific fact. No farm is completed without a nice little farmhouse to suit it. And so I think that's what we're gonna start on next. And it's not done yet, but don't worry, we're getting there. I don't exactly have all the resources on me at the moment, but hopefully I'll be able to get it done soon. I think first what we need to check on is the iron. And wow, that is a lot of iron. Now the reason that I wanted so much was so that I could be able to create a couple buckets here, so that way I could easily transport water from there to the rest of the farm that will hopefully be here one day. So let's try and get started on that now. And now we're done. At least partially. But I think you can see where we were going with this. Now, as that was being built, Nighttime came upon us, and I decided that I would take advantage of the bed that I gained through true honesty and bravery. And so I decided that I was going to go ahead and put it in the house, but while that was happening, an unfortunate event took place. Oh no. But enough of that. Now I think we should focus on the rest of this build. I think I'll go ahead and take a half a stack of this and turn it into bread, and then eat that myself, and then hopefully be able to find a way to sell the rest of this wheat to the rest of the villagers. But not before the morrow. I'll see how much of this wheat that I can sell that I gained purely and honestly. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yes. Okay, so it's locked out until I think about noontime, and we've only got 22 emeralds. This is actually a fairly simple challenge. Now that we've got some money to throw around, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it safe right here in this chest. But while I'm waiting for the rest of this stuff to grow, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this house a little bit. Well, I wish I could come back to you on better weather conditions, but unfortunately this will have to do for the time being. And this is what we have right now. You know, yes, we're not done. Obviously, I still need to get some of the siding in, and I still need to get some windows put in, but we're getting closer every single time. So far, I consider this a W. Now, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is make a shield, and I'll explain why here in just a second. Hey guys, real quick, do you want to see how fast I can craft and equip a shield? Ready, set, go. Shield. Boom. Alright, now I've got a shield that can hopefully deflect some form of arrows. But I'd also like another form of protection that I could possibly get. I've got 16 iron ingots, which hopefully can be used to some kind of ability. I think that my best bet would probably be for some leggings, so I'll try and do that here real quickly, and I've got 9 left over. And here's the plan. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a purge tonight. You see, there is not very much growth taking place right here, and I don't know if you can help but notice, but that's what we need to help our business continue to thrive. And without these crops growing, well, there's really no thriving at all. So what I need to do is find some skeletons out here tonight, and hopefully be able to kill them to be able to acquire some bone meal to fertilize this ground. But all I have to do is just wait for nighttime to come, and hopefully it'll come soon. Well, it looks like nighttime is falling, so you know what that means. It's time for us to go out on a little bit of a hunt. Ah yes, the sound of burning skeletons. That's exactly what I need this morning. Alright, moment of truth. 18 bone meal. I would consider that a win, and I think that I also have a couple extra bone meal from earlier as well. Now I also want to show you that while I was waiting, I decided to go ahead and begin to furnish the house just a tad little bit. I put the furnace in here, I put the crafting table in here, and then I put a lot of our items in here as well in this chest. But you may be wondering the most important question. Where is the valuables chest? Well, the valuables chest has been placed in the perfect location where all suspicious money is. Under the bed. But yes, we currently have a total of 21 bone meal that we can use to hopefully be able to nurture our crops here. And I think that went pretty well. Go ahead and harvest the ones that can be harvested. And then replant the new seeds. But there is another mission that we have today, and that is creating a composter. And the only way that you can really create a composter is with slabs. So I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping down some of these trees and see if I can make one. And bone meal in a composter is actually fairly easy to make right now, because all you have to really do is just fill them up with some leaf litter, which is everywhere, and eventually, and ta-da, 2 bone meal. So now all I have to do is just wash, rinse, and repeat. Well, unfortunately the composters weren't as great as I thought they would be, so I guess it's back out to the grind of nighttime hunting. And it was as I was purging the village on this night that I came across a ruined portal. And unfortunately I didn't find much. All I found were some golden carrots, some iron nuggets, and a flint and steel. But it wasn't all that bad, as the golden carrots would at least provide a sustainable food source while I was focused on growing the crops to sell. Well, now I have 45 bone meal, and I think that I'm gonna go ahead and do it on what I've been using it on, for the entire time, wheat. And we'll look at what we have right now. We currently have 20 wheat, which is actually the exact amount we need to go ahead and go trading in the village. Hello. She's still sold out? Okay. I see how it's gonna be. You're gonna regret this decision later, mark my words. You see, there's a plan that I've saved up until this very moment. For this very moment. Now I will go ahead and explain that I did record this explanation at the very beginning of the challenge, so if it doesn't totally match up with the current timeline, that's why. Now you may be thinking something very interesting. If only a few of these villagers are out wandering around, then how will I ever be able to make a living with only just a few farming villagers around the area? Well, that is where the rest of these villagers come into play. You see, they all have something like this called a job block. Sorry for the language. And what he has to do is he basically has this as the location of where he works. But if something oh so terrible were to happen to this block, well then he is going to be, unfortunately, unemployed. Now, if he is unemployed, that means that we can offer him a new position, this time with a composter instead of a cauldron, meaning that instead of becoming a leather worker as he is, he will become a farmer, just like me. And this means that I'll be able to unlock new trades that I will hopefully be able to sell to him. Now all I have to do is basically go into that village and replace every single occupation block that there is with composters, and therefore every single villager in that village that is able to be employed, except for the nitwit that's in there obviously, will become a farmer. And that means that I will be able to sell them the reaps of my labors, which means that I will be able to make more money than anyone could have imagined. But let's not have dark thoughts. Let's, in fact, just go ahead and start making some of these composters that we need. Alright, I've got 17 composters right now. Hopefully that will be enough, maybe even more than enough, to turn this entire village into farmers. It doesn't match the decor, but it'll have to do. Can't forget about you now, can we? So I think I've successfully done this, so I just want to see how many villagers I can make a living off of. Let's see, we've got you who wants beetroots. You want carrots? Well, I've got plenty of those. You also want carrots. You want beetroots. Oh, you're raising the price, I see. That's not very nice of you. Well, I think I've been able to successfully form a market of some kind within the village, so I think that sooner or later we will be able to have the business empire that we wanted. But before we have to worry about any of that, I think that what I first should work on is this house behind me, and see if I can try and upgrade it to its best quality. And I think that it's turned out pretty well, and I'm very happy to see what it has come to be. Sorry, I just got finished writing an essay and I needed to figure out how I could extend words for it. So that's why I'm speaking like this right now. But after doing some research, I have discovered that our current farm is not exactly going to get us to 100 emeralds within the required amount of time that I have to be able to do it, or at least not the fastest amount of time. So I have decided that instead I'm going to focus on a brand new industry, this time of pumpkins and watermelons. The only issue is I have to find them, and I have no idea where they'd be at. So it was at this point that I decided I was going to go on a little bit of a journey to find some pumpkins. And it was as I was gathering some of the resources to go on this journey, I ran into the unemployment final boss. I mean, come on, who is this guy? He's sleeping sounder than me on a Saturday morning. But when I was ready, I ended up heading out on a long journey to find these pumpkins. And eventually, after a very long walk, I ended up finding another village. Okay, are there any pumpkins here? I see some. Wait, what's in here? We have pumpkin seeds. Okay, great. I'd like to get down there and get some of those pumpkins. Oh no, it looked like the pumpkins have disappeared too, just like the wheat. Alright, let's see, is there anything we can steal in this village? So, I looted the village, and thankfully, I was able to find a great amount of pumpkins and pumpkin seeds. But after I plundered the village, I decided that it would be the best bet to go ahead and head back. Alright, so I think that the first thing that I'm gonna go ahead and do is try and plant these pumpkin seeds to see how they grow. I think if I just plant them like that, they should. Now I'm not sure what to do with the rest of these pumpkins. I've got 32 of them, which can both be divided into 16, and I'm not sure if I want to go ahead and turn them into seeds or sell them. And I think that I will probably do that half and half, because I mean I can split them completely down the middle, 16, 16, and I think I'll turn 16 of these into, wow, a full stack of pumpkin seeds, and then I will take the rest of these and I'll go ahead and sell them in the village. Now let's see, where's the villager? I know only one of these villagers is able to sell or buy pumpkins, and I think it's this one right here. Yes it is. Let's see if I can... Alright, so now we have 2 more emeralds added to the total. We now have 24 emeralds, which means that we still have our work cut out for us. But hopefully these pumpkins will be able to better our grip on the industry. Okay, so I think that the next thing that we need to do is to go ahead and try and upgrade some of these other villagers that are in the village over that way by selling them carrots to hopefully be able to unlock the melon trade. And looking at it now, it seems like the melons are actually doing pretty well. Okay, so we've got 3 emeralds now. Unfortunately, we're only one carrot short. Hopefully I can come back and get him very soon, but he looks like he's about to upgrade very soon. Oh no, I sold it to the wrong villager. Wait a minute. That's a strat, guys. Alright, so he's deducted his prices back down. That's good. Why, yes, hello, sir. Can I interest you in some totally not stolen carrots? It's getting very close to upgrading. That's good. Let's see if we can find some more carrots. Yes, it looks like we're getting some of our first pumpkins to grow in. That's wonderful. Now it was at this point that I decided to absolutely lock in. So I ended up building the world's largest automated pumpkin farm, the PMK 6000 as I called it, capable of harvesting over 100 pumpkins a minute. Okay, not really, but I really do wish I had. In reality though, it wasn't as glamorous. I did continue to collect leaf litter and then use an auto clicker to speedily fill the composters. I then fertilized and harvested most of my crops. I then took them into the village to trade, and I repeated this process over and over and over again. I was even able to expand the farm a little bit, though slowly but surely, my emerald count did increase. From 27 to 35, from 35 to 36, from 36 to 39, from 39 to 44, from 44 to 50, from 50 to 53, from 53 to 59, and from 59 to 63. And before I knew it, I had a stack. I was over halfway there. Oh, I also set up some more decor to be reminded of our humble beginnings. And I did end up taking a jack-o'-lantern from earlier and building a friend. I named him Bob. But then it was straight back to the grind. 68 emeralds, 82 emeralds, 84 emeralds, 91 emeralds, 95 emeralds, and then 99. I was just one emerald away from finishing this entire challenge. So, we only have one emerald left to get. Why is the creepy music playing? But yes, we only have one emerald left to get. Now, I would say that this will be easy, but I don't know that for confidence. Also, I know that whatever I say will be easy turns out not to be easy. So, I better just shut my mouth for the time. And instead, I'm just gonna harvest these pumpkins to sell them. And hopefully, I will be able to get our 100th emerald to finally put this challenge to bed. Well, I currently have 14 pumpkins, which, if my math is correct, and if the sales amount has stayed the same, that means that I have hopefully more than enough to get the final emerald. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cash this in. Alright, here it is. The final emerald. And here we are, the moment I've been waiting for. 1 stack and 36 emeralds. 100 emeralds. Gained by just selling, by the way. I want to emphasize that. I gained that all by just selling farming stuff. This has been an incredible challenge. And so, I think it's time for us to say goodbye to the farm that we created here. The garden, I should emphasize. Because this was a lot of work. I hope you all found it enjoyable. I know I did. And I'll see you in the next one. And with that being said, the video is done. And I'm actually surprised at how long that it took me. But you never really know with these challenges. Sometimes they're shorter than the intro, and other times they're longer than driving by Nashville at rush hour. But all in all, I did have fun making it, and I hope you had just as much fun, if not more, watching it. And if you did, why not try watching the video on screen now? YouTube thinks you'll like it, and I'm depending on you two, so please